So hi everyone, my name is Nishan son of Tanasegaran. So for today we are going to do the last activity for the computer troubleshooting lab practical 1. So this activity regarding the computer disassembly and assembly. So we are using an PC building simulator 2 as a game to project to show the removal and a reinstall of the key components such as CPU, RAM, and GPU with other clear narration. So we will provide the proper technique and step to how to entering the component and with the clear explanation. So we are going to build a PC with water coolant system. So now we are going to do a free build system. So in this activity, we are split into three parts, which is first I would explain about four parts, and then my fellow friend Mr. Hari will proceed. After Hari, Mr. Adi will settle down with all other parts. Will end up with Hari. Okay, so as you guys can see here, this is a water cooler performance CPU. This CPU will cool by a water coolant system, as you guys can see here. This is the water coolant pipe combined to the CPU and located to the radiator of the CPU fan. So this is the pump reservoir to keep the moving the all the coolant throughout the CPU until the pipe will go throughout the radiator fan. Okay, so in this part, I, Mr. Harik, and Mr. Ari will show how to disassembly the CPU parts, and we also will reinstall all the parts including the specification. So we would like to start to remove the parts. So first we remove the case part by clicking on the screw. Second, we would like to move to the right and remove the front panel case part, and we remove the case part dust filter, and also we go to the middle part. We would like to remove the unplug the graphic card wire, and now we would like to unplug the PSU power supply unit cable. We go to the back section and we would like to unplug the graphic card wire and remove USB drive, and then unplug motherboard wire and remove the case part on the right side. So now we are removing the side panel of case part. It's already removed. So we look into the middle part. So as you guys can see here, this is the clear view of the pump, the coolant going through all this CPU and the radiator. So now the case part inside here, and then we unplug the graphic card from the power supply unit. The plug is already removed. So now we are unplugging the wire from CPU to connected to the motherboard. So now currently we are unplugging the SSD wire with the motherboard supply. So now we are removing the wire from unplug the motherboard. So as you guys can see here, the motherboard plug is unplugged. So now we are currently unplug the motherboard system from the radiator, and now we are unplug the motherboard from the graphic card system. Okay, so all the plugs are now unplugged. So we are currently unplug the SSD and unplug the motherboard to connect the SSD plug. You guys can see here, so it's unplugged. So next we would like to unplug the motherboard from the pump crossway wire. Now we can go to the behind part, remove the graphic card. First, we remove the case part from the PCI lock. You guys can see this lock is removed. Now we are going to remove the power supply unit. So it's open, it's removed. Now we are going to remove the case part on the behind. As you guys can see here, the case is fully open on the behind part. So now we would like to remove the graphic card. Okay, so the graphic card is removed. So now we're going to open the uh, pipe from the pump crossway. Okay, we remove the pump reservoir pump from radiator to pump crossway. So now we are going to remove another pump from CPU to radiator. So the radiator is now clear, is ready to remove. So now we remove the radiator. Okay, so the radiator is fully removed, as you guys can see here. Now we are going to remove the pipe from CPU to pump crossway. So it's totally clear. You guys can see the pump is totally unplugged from every source. So now we are going to remove the pump reservoir. The pump reservoir is unplugging now, so it's totally removed. Okay, so in this case it's only available the motherboard and the CPU and the SSD. So we're going to remove the RAM first of all. We open up memory clip. Now we open up the memory clip on downside. Okay, so now we can remove all the RAM from the motherboard. Okay, so we successfully remove first RAM and second RAM and third RAM and the last RAM. So from the motherboard we already removed all the parts, include the RAM. As you guys can see here, the RAM slot is empty right now. The graphic card is empty. All the PCIs are empty. So now we're going to remove the CPU block. So the CPU blocks are removed right now. So we are going to clean the CPU. So Mr. Harid and Hadi will help to clean all these things, and also they will help to uh, reassembly and remove other parts as well. Okay, so the CPU are clean right now, so we can proceed with remove the CPU. So before we remove the CPU, we need to open the clip. So now it's ready to remove. Okay, so it's time to remove the motherboard from the case. All the screws are removed. Thank you, Mr. Harid and Adi, to help me to remove all those parts along with the main component. So now we are going to remove the dirt case, dust filter. So that's it. You guys can see here the case is fully empty with no other this thing. So at the behind, you guys can see we are going to remove the SSD. So we are going to remove the case part. So the case is fully empty. So now we are going to reassembly all the parts into the CPU case. So first I begin with the motherboard, and along with other components, Mr. Harry and Adi will fix it. So first I go with the installation method. First I go with remove component, and I would like to see all the components were removed. I fix it. I reallocate it in the case, the bay cover, the bay cover is installed, the drive bay is installed, the dust filters is installed, the dust filter on the right side is going to be installed, the dust filter is installed, and then PCI cover. Okay, so now I'm going to install the motherboard. So now I'm going to start with the motherboard. So as we are doing the CPU for water cooler, so I'm clicking the water cool applicable CPU. I mean like motherboard. So as you guys can see here, this motherboard will suitable for water cool, and also this one. So I'm going with MSI MEG Z690 Unify motherboard. So I'm going to install the motherboard right now. The motherboard is installed. Okay. So then the motherboard is installed. Now I'm going to open. Now I'm going to install the CPU. So now I'm opening the CPU shield. So I'm going to install the CPU, which is CPU processor. So I'm going with the higher level Intel Core i9 1300KS, which is supposed base frequency is 320 MHz and boosted frequency single core for 6000 MHz. And this CPU does have 24 core, which is way more higher, and it has 8 logical processors and 6 L1, L2, L3 cache. So this will helpful for reduce the struggle and improve the boost. So I'm clicking on it. So I'm going to install the CPU, and now I'm going to input the terminal, apply the terminal paste in order to prevent the CPU heat. Now I'm closing the CPU guard. I'm going to apply the thermal paste. So thermal paste we always apply in one way in the round radius until it's spread all over place. Okay, so this would be a significant amount to apply the thermal paste. Okay, the thermal paste is applied. So now I'm going to apply the CPU fan and the CPU uh, CPU block. So for the CPU block, I'm going to apply the EKWB quantum velocity D RGB 1700 nickel pixel with RGB supply. So now I'm going to install the CPU block. So the CPU blocks are installed. CPU blocks are installed right now, and then I'm going to insert the RAM into the RAM slot. So this motherboard is applicable for 4 RAM pieces. So I'm going to install the RAM. So I'm opening all the memory clip in order to insert the RAM. So now I'm going to install the RAM memory. I'm going to choose the suitable for water cooled RAM thing. So the best one could be the Patriot Viper Venom AR DDR5 32 GB 22 Hz RAM. So the RAM is uh, fixed, and install another RAM. So total the CPU is using total 2 memory RAM, which is 32 gig, 32 total is 64 gig. I'm going to uh, base fan. Federal Design Dynamic base fan. I think I'm done with my part for disassembly and assembly motherboard, the wire, the CPU, the thermal paste, and CPU block along with the RAM. So now I'm going to pass to Mr.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Harid Ramirez Maza. For my part, I have five part, which is power supply, pump reservoir, radiator, connector, and pipe. So I will start with the power supply. So click install and click on the power supply. Okay, for now I will choose antique signature 1300 platinum. with a voltage is 1300 watt, length is 170 mm, type modular, size ATX. So for the plug-in, uh, put the power supply on the bottom of the case and plug all the wire, the connector of the wire. So next is I will install the pump reservoir. So click on the pump reservoir. Okay. Now I will choose EKWB EKXREX 140 Revo 5D RGB. Lighting RGB, height is 190 mm, wattage is 23 watt. So for the install, I will install on the top of the left case. So make sure all the screw tight. Okay, for the next is I will install the radiator. So for the radiator, click on the radiator section. And for the radiator, I will choose the EKWB EK Coolstream SE 240 RGB. Lighting RGB. Airflow is 110 CFM. Size is 240 mm. So I will install it. I will install on the right case. Make sure all the screw tight. Okay, wait. All right. For the next is connector, which is for the cooling system. Okay, connector, I will choose the uh, Process Hydro X Series XF fitting gold. So connector, put on the pump and on the GPU block. Okay. And then put the pipe on the connector between GPU block and the pump reservoir. And make sure no room for the leaking on the water of water coolant. So if have some issue, it will leaking and have a problem on the PC. So that's it for me. I will pass to Mr. Adi.
All right. So for the first part of my section is the GPU. So we're going to click on the water cooled GPU section. Okay, for this machine, we are going to pick the GeForce RTX 3090 FTW3 Ultra Hydro Copper Gaming with the specs of appropriate lighting of RGB with a VRAM of 24 GB, core frequency of 2000 MHz, and memory frequency of 1290 MHz, voltage of 350 watts, multi GPU which SLI, and a max multi GPU of 2. So for this, sorry. So for this particular machine, we are going to put two of the same GPU onto the same chassis to further efficiency, the workload. So now we are going to secure the GPUs. And now we are going to install the piping. Sorry, first we are going to put on connectors to connect the water coolant system to the GPU. And we are going to pick the Corsair Hydro X Series XF fitting with the color of gold. Okay, securing the GPU with the connectors. Connecting the pipes from the reservoir to the GPUs. Later as well to the GPU. Alright, so we are going to now connect the GPUs with connectors, securing the water coolant system pipeline. We are going to connect from the first GPU to the second GPU. As we can see, all of the parts are now connected with the water coolant line. And now we are going to put in the coolant. So for this, we are going to pick the lime clear coolant as our solution. Alright, as you can see, the reservoir is now filled up with the coolant, transferring the solution throughout the machine by the pipeline. It's going to the GPU, and now it's going to the radiator before finally going to the GPUs to cool down the system. Alright, now both of the GPUs are also cooled down by the water, by the coolant. Okay, next, we are going to install the storage device. For this, we are going to pick the Gigabyte SSD 480 gig with the type of SSD, a size of 480 gigabyte, and a transfer speed of 515 megabyte per second. So first we are removing the initial SSD and now replacing it with the new SSD that we have picked. Installing it at the back of the chassis. We are going to use the wiring. We are going to close up the chassis with a side panel to further secure our PC system that we have built. Alright, as you can see, we have installed the frame of which the side panel are going to be put on. And now we are going to put on the front panel. We are also going to put on the bay cover. We are now going to install the cables. Alright, now we are going to turn the computer power on. And as we can see, the system is working by the working lights of the RGB system in throughout the parts that we have put in the PC. The radiator is spinning and the RGB is functioning, which means our system has been a successful build. Finally, we will install an operating system onto the PC by using USB. And yes, OS cloning, no, USB drive, yes. You can install it on the left there, on the port that is available on the PC. We will now try the OS cloning USB drive.
Okay, so that's all from us. Thank you so much. So I would like to pass to my Harriet and Adi.
Thank you very much. That's all from us.
Okay, thank you. That's all from us.